In the corner of her room, on a piece of string hanging by paper clips, are the treasured memories of 20-year-old Zara.
They are my favorite people, that I have them in my life.
Photos, drawings, mementos. A secret world of a life once lived that this Afghan university student now grieves for.
When I stand in front of the mirror, when I look at myself, I just see a different Zara from 2 years ago.
On the 15th of August 2021, Zara's life as she knew it was shattered. The Taliban swept to power after the US withdrawal from Afghanistan following its 20-year war, handing back control to the same group of Islamic extremists who ruled in the 1990s. While the Taliban promised to be more moderate, it said women's rights would have to be within Islamic law. But the past 2 years have brought only a hardline stance towards women. The closure of secondary school for girls, the forced implementation of the burqa, the restriction on travel without a male chaperone, the banning of women from universities and working at NGOs, including the United Nations. And just last month, the Taliban closed all beauty salons that employed roughly 60,000 women, many of them the sole breadwinners of their homes.
Women's freedom doesn't exist. There is no such a thing as women's freedom anymore.
Women's rights activist Mahbouba Siraj, who stayed in Kabul while more than 1 million Afghans fled, says the Taliban government is erasing women from society.
Even the rights that we had in Islam, even the rights that we had in Sharia, we are losing all of that. So if it is not annihilation, what is it then?
For Zara, an aspiring designer, it's very clear what the Taliban demands of her.
Just to stay at home, get married, you have to give birth to children, that's it. And this is your life. This is what women made for.
And while the international community repudiates the Taliban's treatment of girls and women, condemnation is waning. Human rights activists fear the Taliban, desperate for international recognition, is gradually being normalised.
They're posing in photographs with smiling diplomats. They're getting on private jets to fly off to important high-level meetings where people roll out red carpets for them. They're being permitted to take control of embassies in a growing number of countries. So I think that, from their perspective, it's going pretty well.
A terrifying assessment for the women of this country. Protests have all but disappeared, apart from a small group who face the threat of arrest as they try to get the world's attention. For most, they suffer in silence, convinced the world no longer cares.
If it continues like this, the future, not only for me, but also for other girls, it is horrible and it is disaster.